distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, friends and enemies.
So welcome back, Make It Plain podcast. Thanks for listening. Do please like, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, do all those things as well. Once again, joined by Busayo Twins for our special Make It Plain. We still haven't given it a name. We do need to have a name.
I know.
So please do drop any suggestions.
For the new year. Definitely something
for the new year.
Yeah.
It can be a New Year's resolution, innit? Get a name. We wanted to, because it's December, end of the year, so we kind of wanted to discuss what's happened, what's been going on in the year. We look forward to next year as well. So I just ask you first, like, how are you feeling? End of the year, how are you feeling?
We were just saying, I'm definitely crawling to the end of the year, praying that nothing else on a political level, on an existential crisis level occurs. I think this year has been so bumpy that everyone is just trying to recover. And every time you try and recover, something big happens. But then also December is always that time where just when you think the new year's coming, something else happens. I know in a sad sense, there's always someone like dies, someone like famous, someone dies, and you're like, it's December 30th, and you're like, couldn't you just enter the new year? Like, why was it like that? But also, it's just tiring. I think we've just kind of recognized that this life we're living, this era we're in, it's not ending anytime soon. I think these genocides, these conflicts, these abuse of power, it feels like it's now become part and parcel of our political experience for those of us who are alive in 2024, 2025. So yeah, it's just trying to recover for the end of the year to prepare ourselves for next year. So what about yourself?
The years always seem to. You think it's the worst year, then then you're like, oh wow, now I gotta get ready for next year. Really,
that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that next year I'm gonna go look back at 2024 as the heydays. I'm gonna look back and go, that was the good old days, 2024. You know what I mean? There's a version of this where, because I'm looking back at 2020 like, oh, life was simple, but we actually had a whole pandemic, but it hasn't improved. So I'm just like, yeah, God. So
yeah, that pandemic was. I was listening to something and somebody was talking about the pandemic. I'd actually forgotten what it was like. You just kind of forget. Stuck in your house, you can't go nowhere. It's like madness.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have that this year though. Like the research, like that monkeypox. I don't know if it's a scare. I don't know where they are with it. I don't know whether it's a cautionary warning. But that mpox started to look like they were gonna shut us down again.
Yeah.
So.
Did it come to Europe? Mpox? Did it come in?
Pardon?
Did it come into Europe? Mpox?
It's in Sweden, but
Okay.
I know that like when they reported it, the issue was that it would be in Sweden, but then they'll have pictures of like kids in Africa with it, and they'll be like, "Why are you still showing black people's hands when it's in Sweden?" Unless you're trying to say, yeah, that's what they're trying to say. Yeah, like and any illness or any disease that a black person has is monkeypox, isn't it? It's just a word for saying it hits black people. So yeah, that was one of my fears actually this year, was that this story just keeps rising, but then it disappeared completely.
Yeah, so there you go. We avoided the pandemic. That's a positive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like there's more deadly ways to die in right now in monkeypox. I feel like COVID was a time when nothing was really going on, so it was. But yeah, the likelihood of you dying at the hands of like government policy is much higher than monkeypox. So.
Oh, good. Well, year started off with Katt Williams, Club Shay Shay. He did warn us it's going to be the year of everything's going to come out. We're going to see what the world is like. And he weren't wrong, was he?
Yeah, he weren't wrong. And I feel like even till today, I haven't even watched it, but the amount of snippets that were online, that was kind of like, number one, I think everyone was like, is he all right? Is he okay? Why is he trying to like, and now it was like, yeah, he is. So now anyone who comes out with such predictions, I'm locked in.
Really?
I'm locked in. I'm in the comments going, now tell me more. And also now tell us how to survive it. Because yeah, he told us. I think one of the main things he warned us about was like Diddy, the Diddy-esque type of Hollywood and the darkness of that, which came out like in ways that last year we didn't think was going to come out. I know the story of Cassie came out, but I think people were still trying to be like, she's a gold digger or she just wants this. But I think beginning of this year was very clear that it was like, oh, things are happening. So that's how we started off 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Katt Williams video is like mythical. Like all the clips and all the, it's like become like
Mm.
Nostradamus or something with his
No, facts.
predictions.
Facts. He transitioned from a comedian to a philosopher very quickly overnight.
Maybe too quickly. I don't know. Maybe
Maybe
too
too
quickly.
yeah, but then the bar is really low in America, right? Because now we've got a president-elect who's Donald Trump. So I feel like America right now is either a comedian or a fraudster, someone who's been convicted for like 41 charges. I know who I'd pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. But the Diddy stuff, man, that Diddy stuff, but this generally all year, that was coming out all year. Then we saw the video. I mean, when we saw the video, that should have been the end of the controversy around it, but it still seems like some people are still defending back in case, which is a bit strange.
It reminds me of like when the R. Kelly documentary came out, and there were people who were like these old school like fans who were like, "That's my like Kelly. They're trying to get him down. They're trying to get a black man down." And I was thinking, "Oh my god, this whole thing about trying to get a black man down." It was like, yeah, okay, cool. So you're always gonna have these loyal followers, but I think what's worse is that the people defending him seem quite young as well. Like people our age, people who, if it was a different topic, would be kind of like accusing him of being, you know what I mean, being a sexual predator and all these things. But because it's Diddy and because of Hollywood and because of the black people's relationship with fame and visibility and hip hop, you know, and what they choose to believe, they would rather blindly follow someone than to confront what it is to be a black person with fame. And they would rather not have that conversation because they still aspire to either have proximity to it or they're just embarrassed that they've supported him all this time, even though they didn't know what was going on. So I think the Diddy thing is yeah, it's quite a big thing for the black community to reckon with, especially the Hollywood community. And I don't think they ever will. You haven't heard one celebrity really come out who's not part of it, who's not like a victim of it, say, I don't condone this type of behavior, which means that it's true. He's collaborated with almost everybody on this earth, right? And you couldn't get a handful of people to go, this is not true. And really, then the people who are alleged victims of him as well, who are also famous, have not come out to say it's not true. And I understand the whole like trauma of it and not bring up it. So I get that for many people, but for people around them and stuff, I'm like, no one's denying this happening. Everyone's just waiting to see if he's actually sent to prison, like be convicted of it, and then they'll come out. I think if he gets out, it's too rough for them. Okay, yeah. They're like, yeah, let me just wait. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, it's a shame, don't it? I mean, because we do tend to support black men, particularly, but black people generally just for too long. Like, it's obviously wrong. Yeah. It was wrong at the time. It's just, and there's a kind of truth to the fact that there isn't, like, being a black person, being famous, you are always going to be under attack. It's not necessarily conspiracy. But that don't mean you can accept badness, you know? Like, there's so many, like the R. Kelly, Bill Cosby. People are still saying Bill Cosby was, no, it's just bad people. And at some point, we have to accept that, yeah, if you're black, you can do bad things too, like, right? We're not all good.
No, of course. I think that's the whole point about, like, racial justice, is that we fight for the right for black people to be as mediocre and have as shortcomings as any other demographic. We're not saying that we're more exceptional in these areas. What we're saying is that if we are bad, why penalize us more than you would a white person? But be under no like false pretense that there's many bad people who are black. It's just because there's bad people. So there's going to be bad people. Unless black people are not people, then of course we're going to have black people. And I saw something on TikTok the other day about Quincy Jones, because obviously he passed away recently, and they were saying he's another one. He's another predator in the black community who has been a predator for a long time, but obviously because of his age, his contributions to music, his relationship with Michael Jackson, again, it seems like a ring-fence conversation because you want to protect his legacy, which for many people is dangerous and scary. And, you know, but for others, it's like, yeah, you were one of the greatest whatever's of all time. So,
yeah, I mean, Michael Jackson's another one. I try not to say nothing about Mike because everybody loves Mike. But
I know. Michael Jackson's the one. Just you got to charge it, man. You got to charge it.
No, there can't be that much smoke. There'll be no fire. There can't be that much. But there's that much smoke. There's definitely something going on.
whatever you want to charge it to, whether it's mental health illness, whether it's your trauma of growing up, whether it's you are just a in plain sight predator. Grown people having such fondness of children, it's inappropriate regardless of what happened or didn't happen. You can't. But luckily for him, I guess it was a time before social media. So
imagine. Oof. That'd been hard.
You know what I mean? There's some people where it's like, yeah, you're lucky. You are lucky there was no social media, boy, because
that's one that even that people still. I at one point actually I stopped my kids listening to Michael Jackson.
Really?
It comes on all the time, so it's like, what are you gonna do? And I love Michael. I was the biggest Michael Jackson fan back in the day. But messing with kids, I don't know. We kind of given him a pass. We really have.
Michael Jackson is when we think about like morality and ethics in like Hollywood and the entertainment industry. I think we all accept that it has to come in after Michael Jackson. It feels like we've just accepted that. Okay, after Michael Jackson, let's uphold social justice. You know what I mean? It feels very much like a specific time period which you don't go beyond, and we're like, cool. Cool. It just feels like that. Is even for myself. It's like I don't think I would actively play Michael Jackson like publicly online or anything like that. But I would. But naturally, I don't feel the same as I would playing R. Kelly.
Yeah. And
I think it's because of like the age I was at when all these things was happening. I think R. Kelly is very much black and white to me. It's very much like, oh, it's clear. Like there was a documentary. I understand it. We grew up when feminism. Human rights, all this stuff is very clear to me. I'm an adult. I can understand it. Whereas with Michael Jackson and even the early days of R. Kelly, I was in school. So there was the information coming to me wasn't the same information that I have access to now. But it's what you do with the information you have, right? And so we have to act accordingly because, it's a slippery slope. But it feels like it's just the culture of Hollywood, so to speak, because I don't know why you can commit such heinous crimes. It's so specific. It was very specific. So I think 2024 in that respect, it started off with Katt Williams, but I think it has been the theme of this year, really and truly, is the exposés.
It's, I mean, what gets me about the way we defend these celebrities is they're not even like pro-black people. They're not like go back to Michael Jackson. He turned himself white. And he just not really did anything black. Bill Cosby's awful. Oh my God, Bill Cosby. Some of the speeches Bill Cosby gave long before the sexual assault allegations came out. Where he says, it's our fault. Pull up your pants. Stop. There's no racism. You just need to talk better. What did that ever do for black people? Did he just make lots of money? Like these aren't. We're just defending people just because they're black. Like it's not even like they're black and they've done something for us. It's like we got no politics anymore. Honestly, it makes me. I just question.
Yeah, no, it's true. And then you question. Yeah, you have to go and question ourselves, and be like, have they even fallen from a metric, a standard? Because we haven't given them a standard, and all of a sudden now we kind of like accuse them of being these monsters, but we never said being a monster was a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's because like we kind of make them. They have to make these mistakes, and then we then create some sort of like moral standard. When really we should have these moral standards regardless. But again, there's that relationship that the black community has with fame and all this stuff, and maybe it's because the traditional paths to wealth we felt we didn't have access to. So the culture, the arts have always been something where if you can make it anywhere, it's going to be in this place. So we protect it with all we have. But at the same time, I'm like. Yeah, I don't know how many people's lives are being changed for the better because we're creating kings or we're deifying individuals. Because with all the wealth that they're surrounded by, the opportunities, it's at what cost? Yeah, you know what I mean? At what cost? What cost now do we have a Diddy? At what cost? And I do genuinely hope that like Diddy does pay for all his crimes. Like genuinely, he has to. I do hope, and I hope that because we as a community need to find new ways of spotlighting people, putting people into the spotlight to have integrity. Why must it be this way? Why must it be this way? And there's always a choice not to pursue it, but our desire just for fame means that we're willing to go just to be rich. Okay, I'll do this, and it's like, gosh, just get a job.
Yeah, But
Like, just get a normal job then, like, and let it be a folk tale. You tell your grandchildren that I would have been the biggest rapper alive, but I turned down the biggest deal. It's like, those stories are so helpful as well. Like, you know.
But that's part of the problem, isn't it? We deify people in these industries, and the industry's just nasty. It's not just black people doing this stuff, right? Like the whole way of fame, the groupies of it. And so I shouldn't really be surprised that they're grimy, because the industry's grimy, and we're kind of saying, look, that's what we want as success. And obviously all the idols we have in there get caught up in all the nastiness in Hollywood and abuse their power. And the problem is, why are these the people we're deifying? Right? Like, why? Like I said, did he forget the sexual allegations? What has Diddy done for us? Nothing. Just got rich, made a lot of money. Well done. Congratulations.
I know.
Why is that someone we're following? Anyway.
I know. That's probably, that's I think in 2025 and beyond, it'll be interesting to see how the music industry altogether reacts to this, and especially like the new generation of people who are becoming famous outside of the traditional like institutions, who can just get rich off of TikTok or get rich off of like social media. And therefore, like, they're not really accustomed to the whole grooming side of music, because it's not like Diddy and his people, they're still making it like, say, if you go through me, you'll be a star. But now there's many stars being made who have never even met you or even listened to your music or forgot that you're even alive. Like, do you know what I mean? So I wonder what that looks like moving forward for people. And if he does go to jail, I wonder what that means for just the integrity of the music scene or Hollywood in general, and being like, because I saw something recently as well, like Brad Pitt. I think the Brad Pitt cases, the divorce cases, when Angelina filed for divorce, and a lot of it was about like domestic violence and abuse and all that kind of stuff. And people were saying like, Hollywood brushed past that one. They did not. He didn't get any opportunity. His opportunity stayed the same, if not more. He was like awarded and celebrated, and he does some crazy stuff. And this is a woman who we, for all our life, well, the media has tried to vilify her, but ultimately she's a humanitarian. Like, she works with the UN. Like, I think she like consulted or contributed to like the papers around like, you know, genocide and that kind of stuff. Like, she's an activist, but still, because of a white man in Hollywood, you know, we kind of just let that slide. So I wonder what that means for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, it should be a much bigger question mark about all of it. I mean, this is why I'd put money that Diddy doesn't make it to the new year, just because the trial. The trial is going to bring in so many people. All these people going to Diddy's parties, getting involved. This is a lot of people.
I know.
They can't let that happen, surely.
Because I saw something about his got another bail hearing, the third one, and I just feel like you would not keep requesting bail if you genuinely thought you didn't have a chance of getting bail. So I'm just confused. Maybe it's the performance of it, of going, the lawyer trying to be like, I'm working really hard for you, even though we're going to fail, and let it look like I really worked for you. But did he just? I just feel like there's just maybe one too many contacts in his phone number, in his phone book, that it's just like But then what's the other one who allegedly killed himself? The original. Epstein. Yeah, Epstein. So I guess, but he probably had greater contacts. So
it's probably what he's trying to get out of prison. But what's one thing about these court cases? The lawyers are the only ones that benefit. So they'll be pushing those bail applications.
Bro, listen,
10 bail applications.
Definitely go into Young Thug's court proceedings will go down in history as like, I don't even understand that. I don't even understand America. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like his lawyer has become really famous because of this as well, just because of what he was able to, the freedoms that he was able to grant Young Thug. But yeah, what else happened this year?
Yeah, actually, before we get into this year, I was gonna say, like, because this isn't really even a next year thing. I was just having this conversation about because I'm listening to this book, 25th anniversary Martin Luther King and Malcolm X by James Cone, who's a theologian in America, and this question comes up in 2027. The FBI documents of King are going to be released. They've been they should have been released ages ago, but Coretta Scott King kept having them sealed again. So they're going to come out. And there's quite a lot of worry about what comes out there, what sexual, and there could be a lot of sexual misconduct in that. I mean, how are people? And King's obviously a different figure than like Diddy or that. What are people going to? What do you think? Are people going to reassess King if it turns out he's definitely cheating? Definitely.
Yeah.
He's pretty.
Yeah.
But there's also allegations he might be gay. The most serious allegation that has floated around is that he witnessed a rape. We're not even sure if it's true, but that's the most serious allegation that has been floating around.
Yeah.
If these kind of things come out about King, will we be reevaluating him?
Do you know what I'm thinking about? I think figures like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, activists, community leaders, people who are like seen as the people who have really pushed Black progressive, I don't know, just kind of civil rights leaders. I think they're lucky in a sense that regardless of what happens, their place in history is immovable. Like they will always be seen as the leaders. And what will happen is that when we try and reconcile things, we will be very specific about what we mean by a great man. Mm-hmm. So now it's kind of like, they're great. We know them for civil rights, but they're great generally. Like you will talk to your kids about them. Your kids can go to school dressed up as them for whatever, World Leader Day or whatever. You know, you have no real like issue with your child associating yourself with Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, etc., etc. But I think now what would happen is they would be very specific about the role that they play and where they're great, which will be in community organizing, maybe thought leadership, the civil rights movement, particularly great. Outside of that, I think conversations will become less and less about how great they were. And I think that's right. And I think it's important, number one, for us as a community not to remove everything they've done, all the contributions they've made because of this, because I think it's important for us to remember that people can do bad things and still do good things. Mm-hmm. You're not a great person because you only do great things. You're not a bad person because you only do bad things, right? But at the same time, it's kind of like when if we want to be better than them and we want to create leaders of tomorrow that have that integrity, then they have to learn from the mistakes of what they've made. And I think we only learn from them if we know all the shortcomings that they had. And infidelity, sexual violence, not saying this is all the things that he's been accused of or he did, but all these type of accusations, it feels like men, especially men on the forefront of activism, they need to do better. It doesn't make sense why of people, you know, you're held to such high regard and yet you make the same mistakes as a man who has no political consciousness. Yeah. And I think that's something that men, especially Black men, need to reckon with. And I think women, Black women, ethnic minority women, women of color, I think that's always been a gripe that we've had, actually, because it's like we have to watch our men be praised for their contributions, rightly so, whilst we suffer from a lot of the things that they do, whether it's behind closed doors, it's domestic violence or misogyny and all these other things. Like these are things that people have always kind of looked over because of how great a man is, you know? So it would be a shame for the family, I think, ultimately, because they'll be like, rah, this is, you know, your father's not here to defend himself. And again, he's dead. We don't know. It's all alleged. And we know the government has agendas anyway and all this kind of stuff. So it's not easy.
Trust the FBI. I mean, FBI is not the greatest source of anything.
I know, you know what I mean? And I hope they release the fact that, like, allegedly they killed him too, beside these stories. You know what I mean? Like, let's make it all holistic so we really know what went on. Like, do you know what I mean? So let's really do that. But I don't know what it's gonna do. I don't think the Black community can handle it. I don't think we're built for this type of like these revelations, you know.
Yeah, I know. I think I know what will happen is we'll just reject it, and it might. And to be fair, this is FBI. If there's any organization that would want to lie about King, it will be the FBI, and we know they did these kind of things. So
precisely,
I think we'll just reject. I think my guess is we'll just say it's not true. Whatever comes out, it will just be it's not true, even though it may well have been true. We don't know. But
yeah, rightfully skeptical because of the source. Also, those people who do believe it, rightly so, because they will not be the first men in high positions to abuse power. One thing I don't like though is that they always reveal that like people were gay or part of the LGBT community, and I'm like, it's not an insult, it's not a slur. Like so these are not things that you release. It's almost like, what are you trying to say? Why mix that up with infidelity and why mix that up with all these other things which are crimes? However, I think if they were cheating on their wife with whether it's with a man or woman or someone with different genders, then that is the crime. That is the issue, is that you cheated on your wife, no matter who it was with. But him being gay, I think it's something to provoke the black community. I think it's something to make us feel like, and he was gay, because if there's one thing the black community can't handle is the LGBT community. We can't handle black men being gay. All now, I don't know why. But back then as well, like they couldn't be gay freely. So I'm sure most of the people that we know, that we think about, were probably gay because it wasn't a time when you could not be gay freely, and it not undermine everything else.
Yeah.
And he was part of the church as well, isn't it? So I guess that's another angle.
The church as well. I mean, even just, what was it? The weekend, there's a footballer, Mark Gahey, England footballer, black guy.
Right.
They had these armbands. They were made rainbow. It was like a rainbow armbands for like Pride.
Yeah.
And so he took his armband and wrote "I love Jesus" on it. And now he might get fined by the league. But it just shows you like the homophobia is still real.
It's just like, I think it's childish. I don't know how else to put it. It's so childish, especially because it's like, I don't understand. You're right, I love Jesus, but on the weekends, are you doing things that glorify Jesus? Always loving Jesus when it comes to gay people, but when you're outside doing I don't know this footballer, but just being let's just do a stereotype. If you're outside partying and drinking and smoking and carrying women, where was Jesus in those activities? You know what I mean? He just only turns up when it's to be homophobic. I always remember that. You know, that's when if you want to see Jesus, bro, talk about homophobia. That's when the Christians will reveal themselves.
Yeah, that's when they'll come back. Oh man, it's we got problems. We do have problems. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, we have a lot of problems that I do hope that we get over in 2025.
What else happened this year? Oh, we had President Trump first, but he got convicted became a felon and president in the same year. But that's pretty impressive.
Collecting awards left, right, and center.
Yeah, talk about someone who got away with sexual misconduct.
And then he's ending the year with the case being dropped, because it will set a bad precedent that a president will have these. Yes. Yep. So we've got some firsts this year. And as a president elect, I'm sure he's going to create new firsts.
The cabinet is potential cabinet is load of loonies. Oh, right days. I have to say, I was one of those people saying it don't really make that much difference. But actually, looking at the people he wants to put in there, I think it makes a difference.
I think he makes a difference, and I think he's really getting people who outside of like the technocratic elite. Like he's really finding there's the political loonies that, regardless, that you still operate under some sort of like political understanding.
Yeah,
that's the extent to which you can be mad. But when you take them outside of this political circus and you find them in their own circus, you're like, so Trump is the center, like he's center left of his cabinet. like
he's
Trump,
the most reasonable person in the room.
You know what I mean? Like Trump is the one that's going to tell everyone to like chill, relax. Let's think about this sensibly. That's what I'm scared of. He's the voice of reason. So what do we do now? Like this is why I'm nervous. So yeah, like we've got Trump as the center left candidate. Do you know what I mean? Just on the left of Kostama. So we don't know. We really don't know what's going to happen.
That is worrying. I mean, Robert, what was it? Robert RFK. Is it Kennedy? He's Kennedy, like the related to John F. Kennedy, isn't it? That's weird in itself. But I mean, that in itself is weird.
Kennedy's not a conspiracy thing, but are they related to everyone in America? Do you know what I mean? It's given founding fathers. It's given like, why is every sixth member of the America a Kennedy?
They're like a royal family. They don't say they ain't got a royalty, but they kind of do.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I think so. I think they maybe they intermarry with Democrats and Republicans, so whatever happens, they're still leading the country. They're
still in power.
Yeah, it's given that. Every time it's like Kennedy, I'm like, still, is there no other family?
He's like, he's the head of healthcare, anti-vaccine. I mean, if we do have a pandemic in that government,
yeah, we're gonna start closing our borders to the US. That's what I'm looking forward to next year. Is hopefully somebody being like, because they've got a failed healthcare system, and obviously they want to tariff every single one of their neighbors, and they don't plan on improving people's living standards and all this kind of stuff. America will be a place where it will be on our red list, our red travel list. because they play it. No one wants them in, no one wants them out. Like, you know. So yeah, we got that. And I'm not sure what happened in the spring. I think this is all the stuff. Obviously, as we said, like there was the shadow of Gaza, and the genocide happening there. And I think also like I think we started to speak more about Congo and Sudan as well.
Yeah.
A lot more of their statistics started to come out and be more on the mainstream. So it's really been like a year of just like conflict, humanitarian crisis in a way that I don't think we've been attuned to before. Not that it hasn't happened, but I just don't think we've been attuned to it because of how it's been live streamed. And obviously every week there was like protests especially in the UK, I know around the world, but especially in the UK, coming out asking the government to, number one, recognize Palestine, to stop selling arms to Israel. And then, of course, Lebanon joined that conversation as well towards the latter part of the year. And then before that, we had what? We were protesting the Conservative government, and then July came and Labour.
Ooh, yeah.
Labour came.
They made no difference whatsoever.
The smoothest transition. Smooth. No issues, no risk of riots in the capital like America, was it January 6th or whatever they had last year. The Labour government came in I think they were pretty heavy-handed with the fact that they will do what they like.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that's what they were heavy-handed with, listen, we're going to do what we like, and it's going to be tough for everyone it shouldn't be tough for.
Yeah.
But because you're already used to suffering, there's no point trying to invite the middle class, not even the middle class have been suffering, the upper class and the landed elites into the conversation. So they just keep flogging the same kind of like impoverished people. But yeah, recently I saw a video, was it, of Starmer, is it giggling with Nigel Farage? I know that kind of sent people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people kind of sent people a bit nuts because they were basically like, so why are you having I think it was in House of Commons and they were just chuckling. There was a video of them like laughing, like the old boys club. And everyone was like, oh, so you lot outside of this little performance, you lot just sit together and have a drink and then you got your separate ways and enter in different ways, like your enemies.
That's bad. And I met Farage as well. Farage is, some people are like, you can tell they're nice people. Farage is not a nice person. Like, he's not a personable, he's not the kind of person you just like laugh and joke with unless you, you'd have to actually like him to do that. So that's
and of course. And I think he's also somebody that since the beginning of the year, he had the rise. He emerged again. He was doing this kind of like press tour without unofficially running for a seat in Parliament. Then all of a sudden, he ran for a seat, or he was the head of Reform UK, and this whole big thing. And obviously in America, his whole thing is, which I think we'll see next year, is trying to shape the UK on the American model right now. There's talks about him trying to introduce a banning abortion bill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's scary in the sense that I don't think it will pass, but the fact that someone is bringing it is like, okay. But saying that, I do hope that it gives us an opportunity to really rethink actually how different we are from America, or how different we could be from America if we really wanted to be. Like the average person, we could be really different from America on these things. Like, I can't imagine a UK that is banning abortions. But some people might argue that we've ended the year with the assisted dying bill passing first or second reading. So, depending on what side you sit on, you could say you can liken it to that as well. These kind of things.
Yeah, the Farage thing, what I predict for 2024-5, Farage will become more mainstream. And Kemi's going to make friends with him. And this is going to be really bad. This is going to end really badly. I think Farage, expect more Farage, not less Farage, I would say.
Have you seen any interactions between Kemi and Farage?
I haven't actually. No.
Yeah, I haven't really. I'm not sure. Like, I wonder where that will go. If they didn't get along, what an entertaining.
Oh, that would be great. That would be
entertaining next one, yeah.
But I haven't
because the right versus the far right is crazy.
I haven't heard her say anything bad about him either.
Yeah, I haven't. But I don't think I've heard him Like right now, we should have some paparazzi pics of them having dinner, no, or something. Just something that's a bit like, oh, okay, or she went to his birthday. But it feels like they're very like separate for now. But I think I think the Conservative Party are trying to bring back the supremacy of the Conservative Party, and I think the Reform UK and Nigel Farage's presence reminds them that they needed them. So in one way, they could be trying to separate themselves to be like, actually, we don't need you. It's unsustainable to have a Conservative Party that is so indebted to the Reform UK. I don't think it works for them. I think they've realised that no, it's not. But it is the only reason why people are even entertaining you, is because they think that you could bring in some of the policies that Nigel Farage wants. So
yeah, I don't know. It's worrying. Definitely worrying. Farage and Kemi. Oof, can't imagine.
I know Farage and Kemi.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough for us. I wonder what I don't know. I don't know about her. It's not, every time you think about her, you're like, hopefully I'm just projecting, and hopefully like you rein it in, like, you know, the sensationalism of the elections and everything. Okay, we get it. You did what you had to do. You climbed the ladder. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you're a Christian, but your pastor's probably fasted and prayed. He's happy for you. Like, you did it. You made it. Wow. Yeah. You are the talk of the town at church on Sunday. Perfect. Yeah. But outside of that, it's like, sis, like, where are we going with this? Like, what are you really on? Like, come on, like, let's rein it in. So
you think she got a black pastor? There is 0% chance she goes.
Of course she doesn't. Yeah, she's not. No. She's not. She's at one of those services that are like 30 minutes.
Yeah, really.
It's in and out. You know what I mean? Yeah, in and out, and you just get over with. You know what I mean? She doesn't like all the whole community vibe of it. It's giving left wing. You know what I mean?
It's giving black communities. You know?
Yeah, exactly. She's like, no. In it, all the praise and worship is probably it's a bit too barbaric for her. It reminds her of Nigeria. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how she feels about that place. So yeah.
Oh God. What did you think about the assisted dying bill anyway? Because that caused a lot of controversy, didn't it? Assisted dying.
You know what? I'm still in the process of trying to like form my opinion on it in terms of like, okay, cool, it's good or bad. I think where I'm at right now is what seems to be the most convincing argument for me is that it's not ready to be turned into law because the safeguards within the bill itself cannot assure that there will not be malpractice, abuse of power, and that it empowers the patients in the way that they're saying it is. I think they're pushing this bill as it's given choice. And in the UK, in the West, under capitalism, liberalism, choice is what they think separates us from Russia. You know what I mean? It's what separates us from like the Taliban, is that we have choice, even though it's a false sense of choice. So that's a really big argument. It's always going to be like people should have the right to do what they want to do, etc., etc., etc. People in pain, and because the privilege, I haven't experienced that, so I can only imagine that if you really were in pain and you think there was no cure to your disease or illness, whatever you're going through, I see why some people don't want to die, right? People want euthanasia and all these different places and die. However, I think when it becomes law, it is a slippery slope. I think you have to give so much trust into your political system to do the right thing. This whole year, we've realized that we cannot trust our political system with life, let alone death. You know what I mean? So it's like, cool. One case of someone dying and they weren't supposed to, it's irredeemable. You can't go back from that because they're dead. It's not like they became sick, like they're dead. And so I think that's one of it. And then of course the inequities that already exist in the healthcare system, which means Black, brown, marginalized communities. Is this your way to kind of get rid of us in some ways as well? Yeah. When will you use this in ways where we're like, cool, if we can't? So I don't know. I think you have to really trust your government, and you really have to believe that this is going to be used in certain instances, but it doesn't seem. And I think a lot of people who agree with it in principle do not agree with how the bill outlines all this stuff. So I'm at a place where it's probably the case of the bill doesn't look like it's something that, but I get why people would want the bill.
Yeah, I mean, Diane Abbott made a speech in it about, we have to look at the inequities in the healthcare system, what happens to us. And I mean, in principle, I'm 100% for it. I can imagine being in that situation. I know what I would want to do, but again, do you trust the healthcare service? Do you trust the system?
Exactly.
And we don't. We can't trust them. We just can't trust them.
Yeah, we don't. We can't trust them, and we can't trust them. And I think we need to make life worth living, and we need to make sure our healthcare systems are in top form and top shape. So we know when people need to die and want to die, that it's purely because of their situation and nothing else. It's not because they feel like they're a burden. It's not because they've been missed this, or they're not because they've been on a waiting list for years and now they feel there's all these other things that I just feel like, let's just make sure that we can really make sure that those people who are eligible, you know, there's no other incentives or ulterior motives involved. And I just don't think the UK is at a place where it could provide that. I can't imagine the UK being that type of place. It hasn't positioned itself as that type of place. And I think one of the arguments that did scare me as well was that the cost like analysis or cost benefit analysis, that some people might, because of the burden it puts on the NHS, they might actually opt for people being able to die because now it's like one less body, you know. So, and we know as long as we're in a capitalist nation, I can't trust the intentions. It's very easy because your incentives is profit. You know, you've shown us that all the time. So how can I believe that in this one isolated case you're doing the right thing?
No,
but when it comes, you know what I mean? When it comes to our energy bills, you still can't tax the wealthy. You still can't. You believe in my right to die, but not my right to be warm. All right. Okay, government. Like, you know,
they make you cold, so you want to die.
But so I'm saying we don't know. So that's why I'm like connecting the dots here. It's looking like
it was bad. Was it Wes Streeting's the health secretary? I can't stand. After somebody I cannot stand. He when we years and years ago we had University of Birmingham closed down their sociology department and got rid of all their black members of staff. It was this big thing. We were protesting. He was head of NUS, National Union of Students.
Yep.
No support. Oh my God, that man had no support. So ever since then, I've kind of had Wes Streeting's been a no for me.
Yeah.
But he was the one that commissioned the cost benefit. How much did it cost? And it's like, what kind of a logic is this? How much did it cost? That's not how you should be judging this, is it?
He's just jarring. He's just someone I know that was jarring and he needs to channel their jarringness into something and they chose politics. You just know that type of person ever. You're just jarring.
He's jarring.
Yeah, I mean, you're just jarring. Like, how'd you get so far? God knows, but you're just jarring. And I remember during elections, they used to like wheel them out. And I was like, this, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, there's a kind of politician that, from young, NUS student president, he just do the right thing.
Yeah.
He almost got the seat. He was so close to losing his seat to the young Palestinian.
Yeah. So close.
That was the one seat I was hoping in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
here we are. But there's one man next year who I'm ready to make sure that he loses his seat, which is David Lammy. That one, he's mine. Like when people say people hate him, I'm like, no. Find your own opposition. That man is mine.
Really?
And not in a way where it's like, I say it's not personal, but clearly it has to be personal to some degree. But I think it's just that you are ridiculous. You're just not a useful politician. You're playing our faces. You have no shame. You just have no shame. I don't want to go into my whole like anti-Lammy spiel because I do it all the time. But yeah, David Lammy. If Tottenham vote him in again, then we need to talk to Tottenham.
We need to talk to Tottenham.
Then we need to talk to Haringey, wherever they represent, because
Lammy watch. What did I see the other day? He was they were talking about atrocities in Gaza, and he said there's no. He was on. It must have been a select committee because he's been interviewed.
Oh yeah, he was like, there's no journalists there,
so we don't know. We don't know what's going on. It's like, huh?
And we were like, yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And where did he go? Was he the first Black British person to graduate from Harvard or something, or like law school or something?
Was he?
And I was like, Harvard made it look like it was competitive to get in, but if Lammy's out here collecting, being the first Black British, then guys, academia is dead. Or the law is dead. Like what? No one before him could have graduated from there. I think it's like Harvard Law School or some Yale Law School, some sort of law school is like the first Black Brit or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh.
Well, you really don't like Labby? This is Labby.
No, I just don't like him. I think before I was indifferent. Then I was like, hold on. What have you actually? You've been like your local MP for ages. What have you actually done for your borough? Let's just forget everything else. What have you done for your borough? And then when it comes to real issues, you don't speak about anything, really. I mean, you try to do this whole like pseudo knife crime, youth violence thing that you think is an issue, but what have you actually done? What do you do? And then it seemed very much like you are just a career politician. Yeah. You have no actual views. Like within a year, you look at his tweets and it goes from going, we stand by Israel, to going, oh, let humanitarian aid in, to, oh, we need to do this, It's like, Commit. I'll rather you even be pro-genocide, but commit to it. And I'm like, this is a man of, he's convicted. You're not convicted. And I think that's the most scariest type of politician who is not convicted. I prefer people like Kemi, because it's like your views are out there. Okay, cool. You're one just to the highest bidder. And I still don't know why Keir Starmer and all these other leaders still feel like they need Lammy in there. Is it because they need Tottenham? I don't know. It just feels like he knows something.
They need a black face, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah.
Who else? Yeah. I mean, the credit to other Labour politicians, other black Labour politicians they're not like that, right? Like Dawn Butler's not like that. Bell Ribeiradis not just going to say whatever you want.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Diane Abbott's not just going to say whatever you want. Lammy will just say whatever you want. Like he'll just say, literally, just tell me what to say. I'll go and say it. It doesn't matter. And that's what they need, a black face who's willing to just sell out, innit? Unfortunately. So, talking about not being able to trust the government and the state, we had a big case towards the end of the year. The police officer that killed Chris Carber, obviously, well, I would say obviously because it's kind of predictable, was found not guilty, even though, unarmed, stopped the car, etc., etc. Yeah, doesn't seem like much is getting better with police violence. UK or America, to be honest. No.
It doesn't. I think with the Chris Carber verdict, it kind of symbolizes, this year just symbolizes everything that is wrong with the UK. I feel like every single ill that the UK faces or is challenged with happened all in this year. And the Chris Carber verdict is just like something they could have just tried to get right. With all the other things that's happening in the world, you could have just done this. You could have just done this. Whatever way you want to do it, whether you say it's not murder, it's manslaughter, or whether you say no intention but XYZ, you could have given the people something. And I just felt like I know they're going to say it's the jury, whatever it is, but the whole case, I think it just doubled down on being like, no, the police are untouchable. That's what I learned, was that the police are untouchable. I guess in the build up to the case, I think they really were scared that if the case did go in favor of Chris Carber's family, that there would be riots or something. There would be riots, there would be outrage, which there should, not riots. If it didn't go their way, there would be riots and stuff, but which there should be. But then it also felt like the police apparently were also threatening, being like, we won't carry any arms, or we will kind of strike as well, and they'll have to get the army in. So it really just made me feel like, oh shit, yeah. These systems that we're trying to fight against, especially when it comes to the police, it's definitely all rigged. And I would wonder, with this information, this updated information, because there's been many cases before this where we know this, but this new updated 2024 information, what do we do with this now? What do we do? Now we know that, okay, it's been 13 years? Was it 13 years since Mark Duggan?
Yep.
If it was 2011, 13 years. Now we've got an updated one for the people who were young, who were too young to understand what's going on. Now they've got their Mark Duggan moment where it's like, rah, what do we do now?
I don't know. And the difference, I guess, now is before 2011, there's stuff. There was rebellions in it. People were out, and it didn't happen this time, which was surprising. I have to say, I was surprised nothing didn't spark off.
It didn't happen. Even when Chris Carber was killed, I don't think it was even a new sensation. I feel like I heard more this year. Maybe it's me and my own bubble that I'm in. But I think this year I heard more about obviously the verdict. Maybe because it was going to trial and stuff. It was like, oh, okay, cool. But it didn't create what it was supposed to create, which is an uprising ultimately, because that's all the people have is uprising and to challenge the government and say, why this? And we didn't do that. So now we've got a community or a society who is even less likely to riot or challenge the government, not to riot in terms of you should riot, but in terms of challenging the government. You have a society that's less likely to do that, but things are still happening. Whereas at least before, you've got people who are still ready to go on the streets, linking that to the things that happened earlier. When was this one? August. The EDL race riot.
Yeah, the races riot. Yeah,
the EDL race riot, or whatever it was. You know what I mean? It was I don't think we responded in the way that we should have responded either. I think we were lucky that, and I say lucky loosely, that a lot of the thuggery was happening outside of London. And so people in London was kind of just oh yeah, cool, you try and bring it to London, but that's not the attitude you should have. You should have, not everyone's going to be in London, but how do we make sure everyone who's not in London is protected? You don't just say, wait to get to London. And if they get to London, what, you think it's you lot that's going to defend the community? You're not even like political.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you think you're going to do? It's not about just scrapping. It's not about fighting. You hit one of them, not one of them. But they've already trained their kids to think with these hateful mentalities. So, yeah, I think everything to do with the police force and the response from the community for me was very disappointing this year.
Yeah, and it carries on. And yeah, those race riots. It was interesting. I mean, it was the fact it wasn't in the cities, didn't come to Birmingham, didn't come to London. They did very much out in the other parts. But that I mean, I guess, is it political? I mean, the fact they didn't come into the big cities, I guess it's something, right?
Yeah, the fact that they dared to.
They didn't. They wouldn't dare to.
My thing is that you're not scared of black people no more. Like you actually ain't scared, because I thought this whole thing is that we're so scary with these beasts, with these monsters. Like crime is in our blood. Like don't let your wife walk past a black man, or don't let your kid be in a lift with a black woman, because you never know. I mean, I thought that was the whole big thing.
Yeah.
But you're not really scared, because you're willing to come down 2 man up after the pub and be like, yeah, what exactly were they gonna do? Yeah. So I feel like my thing is that it's the audacity to even dare to come down and think you're going to do some stuff, which they couldn't. Obviously, they knew they couldn't. By the time they get their connecting train and coach, you lose people on the way. You know what I mean? You lose people on the way. You know what I mean? So of course, and then the police came and they will defend, and they were protecting the racists.
Protect the racists.
Because they were outnumbered. The police said, oh, I might as well protect the racists. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Yeah.
If they had come to the cities, that's what the police would have been doing. All right. The police would actually have to have protected them from us.
Yeah.
Like Birmingham or London. Because
exactly. Because, exactly. So I think that was a disappointing thing. And that was in the summer. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, this year's
it's so much stuff happened, like week in, week out. Not to mention all the other like cases of like femicide, of women being killed, stabbings in carnival, and not in like a carnival's dangerous type of way, but in anyone whose life is lost is sad. I remember there was a mother, I think she even lived in Camden, and there's another guy, he's a chef or something. Anyway, they were either killed in carnival or outside of carnival, but again, lives lost. It's just a shame. Youth violence anyway just feels like, and the weapons that we're seeing as well, it just screams of a society that is really broken and really hurting. You know what I mean? Like it's just really screaming. London, the heart of phone theft in Europe, if not the world.
Really?
If not the world, like, gosh, 2024 has been a year of memorizing your destination, because people are selling like anti-resistant robbery slings on TikTok. Yeah, they're like, if you need to get your child like this sling, so if someone takes it away, like so rubber band effect comes back.
Oh wow.
Is where we are.
Is it really that bad? I don't know. Is it really that bad?
London is bad. Like, it's bad. What else was it? There was something else that happened. What was it? It was the phones. Yeah, it's just a lot of theft in London. It's a lot of theft. It's a lot of theft. A lot of crime. There was they had to put, was it this year they put like, is it security tags on baby formula?
Oh, baby formula, food, cheese. I always like, what am I gonna get my cheeses in a little box? Like it's a diamond or something. That's certainly so. When people say when you security tagging cheese, there's problems, man. There are problems. People having to steal cheese. Like that's
like anything that is your five a day that is being stolen. It's a political crisis.
Yeah.
When it comes to luxury goods, all right, cool. The individual has committed a crime. All right, cool.
Yeah.
If someone wants to steal baby milk, where have we got to?
Baby milk's expensive as well. My God, that was expensive when I was getting baby milk, so I can't imagine how much it is there.
Now, baby milk, right? Yeah. So these are just a few of the things that, in the backdrop of the year, these are the things that are going on, and these are all the news stories that you're seeing day in, day out, and going, rah. If it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not, burglary, it's a starvation as a weapon of war. You know what I mean? It's just such extremes. You can't even escape.
Actually, I had a question. Is
Yeah.
that okay? I don't actually. I'm gonna be devil's advocate. I don't know what the word is, but I was thinking about the racist riots, and it doesn't happen in Birmingham or London. Partly that's because there's lots of us here, right? But also, is there something different about white people who grow up in the cities? And why I'm thinking this is I went to see Mo Gilligan the other day.
Yeah.
And audience was white. I don't really go to white comedy at all, so I've never been in a mostly white audience for comedy.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on?
You're like, there's going to be some racialized joke here that I'm not sure everyone.
You can't say nigga. Don't say nigga.
Yeah.
But they were playing all these garage classics, and I swear that these white people were skinning out. Like they know all the songs. They were like, I was like, okay, what's going on? And I was like, maybe they're different. Are they different? Maybe these white people are different. I don't know.
I feel like there is that thing of like the melting pot stuff where there is as you said, numbers wise, they just know better than to try and like be racist. It's not going to work in your favor because your neighbors and your neighbor's neighbor is going to come for you. I also feel like if we go to the same schools and stuff, we're going to obviously like our culture and that is going to intertwine. But I also think it's just a different manifestation of racism. I think the ones in like, as you said, not the big cities or where there's high black populations, the racism is very primitive. Very primitive racism. It's very like monkey this or go back to your country, and it's very like no disrespect to the people who are being racist, but at the same time, it's not like an articulate racism. It's a very like, all right, I think you're being racist, but your grammar has also fallen short of a full sentence. That type of racism. But then in London or in Birmingham or like key cities, or not key cities, but populated cities that have a lot of minorities, I think the racism is more like you have to really like dig through it. You have to dig through it. It's not that I don't mind marrying your daughter, or I don't mind doing this, I don't mind eating your food, I don't mind doing this, but I'm gonna stay silent on certain issues that affect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's when it's time to march for, you might not see you. Or when we're talking about health, like black women dying 5 times more in childbirth, it's like, don't really see the faces of white people there.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? It's kind of, or it's an exceptionalism. So it's like black British exceptionalism. So our issues here, they might get behind. But the moment you mention Congo, oof.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I can challenge the music industry to make sure like Stormzy gets his awards, because Stormzy is a great artist. But don't talk about the genocide in Congo. That's where the blackness, you know what I mean? So I think we're kind of like the accepted blacks, you know? They went to school with us. We're nice people. We can dance. We're cool, like all that kind of stuff. So, but the white people here are different. But I think it just takes the right topic, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, it's still the same.
I forgot. I hear you. Cool. I forgot. So yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know, because thinking about America, and I was thinking about this the other day when it came to like obviously reproductive rights and people. Well, I get the idea that if you didn't vote Kamala, you voted against reproductive rights in some degrees, and other ones where it's like you just didn't vote for any because they both suck. But then thinking about what's happening there, I'm like, maybe it's going to be a revival of like black feminism. Or feminism that is very specific to your race or ethnic background. I think that might change in the UK, even in London. I see a lot more people withdrawing from like the mainstream conversations, especially when it comes to things like climate change.
Okay.
I see a lot more like not divisiveness, but like being like, no, let's talk about what's happening in this country versus the fact that there's more rising sea levels in the UK. Like, okay, cool, but there's other places this is happening too. So I wonder just moving forward what that would mean for the UK if they let me ask you actually, do you see a topic that will divide Black Britain and like white Britain in the next coming years?
Well, I mean, there's the usual things. I mean, policing, obviously. I mean, actually, Chris Carver thing that kind of shows the divide. Reparations. I mean, if we do push for reparations, I think reparations is the one where you can't get no white support for that.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, it makes sense in theory, but money. Don't be silly. We moved on. I think that reparations, if we keep pushing for reparations, would be a big one. And then I think, you know what, I think the thing is in America's the same way, like, and even the question I asked you before, there is this kind of assumption that younger people are different and they're going to be, you know, as younger people, this generation gets on, and they've grown up with us, they know us, they're going to be more progressive. That's not true. In fact, like, look at the election in America. Not true at all. Young white people voted Trump, similar. You know, it wasn't that, and young people get old as well. So and
Yeah,
they
exactly.
get more conservative. This just happens. So
Yeah.
I think once we really realize that, I think there'll be a big split because nothing's really changing, right? Things are still basically the same, even with your garage dancing, skinning up white people.
Yeah, it's true.
Nothing got better. Nothing's better. Nothing's not like racism in Birmingham or London isn't better than it is out in the sticks.
Yeah, no, facts. And I think with the cost of living crisis and all these like financial hardships, I think once you remove the comforts of white people, they then go back to that primitive thing again because they have to settle their needs first. I think you get a lot more like, how can I say, like, not pro-black. You get a lot more like the friendly political views when their basic needs are satisfied first.
Yeah.
But once they're fighting for jobs too. Like I hear white people can't get jobs either. Do you know what I mean? Or like they can't afford the stuff in the shop as well. And like once the middle class is hit, that's when that's a big indication of a failed economy, right? Especially Western economy when the middle class are being hit. Because obviously, if when working class is being hit, that's just the working class. Who cares? That's just the kind of motto. Do you know what I mean? But once the middle class say, "I can't afford my mortgage," oh Lord, there's something wrong. So yes, I think once things get worse for the middle class here, I think that will then increase the divide because it's the priority, isn't it? There's more than in numbers. There's more of them than us, so their priorities will become top. Every time I have these like lists or like top three issues, Britain say is facing the country, and I'm like, which Britain? Because why is this the top three? It's always something so random that you see and you're like, or like I don't know, fishing rights or something weird. Like they were like, oh, I remember when the Conservative Party came in on their manifesto, it was like they want to return fox hunting or something. I was like, serious? Okay.
If you Ben in the
I see it.
NHS, always talking about fox hunting.
I know. NHS was like NHS fourth, okay, but fox hunting third. Right, let's fix this country. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, who knows? Who really knows, man? And then obviously with Russia, early in the year, Russia also was like, I think Russia really wants to have a face off with the UK.
I think so. I mean, Putin's back in it. Putin got re-elected this.
Yeah, I think he's really itching for it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I hear NATO provocations. The UK just kind of like, you know, you're allowing people to use your weapons in ways you weren't allowing them before. Cool. But I think they're going to cut off a lot of the energy crisis that we're having. Like, they're going to cut off. It's going to cut off. I feel like next year is going to cut off.
Yeah, maybe there could be war everywhere, but geez, that could be 2025.
I mean, if 2024 did not set the stage for everyone to polish their army, all your sleeping soldiers who might have just thought that it was just about a 2-year draft and they enter the banking industry. No, there's a role for everyone now. Yeah. So all the young boys that are on their games, on their Twitches, on their streaming, and then PlayStation, we get back to the old days, my boys. Rise and shine. They're gonna start taking. The moment I know there's actually a war is when they start taking PE seriously again. When the Department for Education starts going, yeah, PE is compulsory for 4 hours. I'm like, yep, we're on a battlefield. Because right now, yeah, we're in such an unfit country.
It's bad. So I guess we should end on a positive. Is that positive? Maybe not positive, but what hopes, expectations 2025? I mean, seems like Gaza's not stopping anytime soon. And again, there's people who said that Trump made no difference. He seems to have really emboldened Netanyahu with some of his decision making. So
yeah,
I just think it's going to get worse. It doesn't seem like it's going to get better. I don't know.
I think even the rest of December, ahead of President Trump, I think there's going to be a lot of knee-jerk reaction stuff. Mm-hmm. Either people trying to finish off what they felt they had more time to finish, and they do it in a way that it doesn't make sense. Or it's going to, as you said, embolden the likes of Netanyahu to ignore everything, ignore international laws. Not like they ever listened to it in the first place, but now ignore it in a way where, you know, they're proud of it. And
that is one thing that happened. They got the arrest warrant for
yes, the arrest warrant. Yeah, no, I think it's kind of like we didn't talk about it because he's not arrested and doesn't like he's arrested. I feel like it would be bigger if it actually meant something, and I think it would be bigger if it was an African leader. Then like, oh, you're done. You're done. Like, wow.
You know, I actually went to I visited a prison up north. What's the prison? Franklin Prison, and I didn't realize Charles Taylor, Liberia, he's in the prison.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah, I was like, wow, really? He didn't come to the talk, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, why is he in British prison?
You know, I don't know. He got actually. He didn't get arrested in Britain, but they sent him to a British prison for some reason. So yeah, he's up north.
Gosh,
in prison. Yeah.
Gosh.
But you're right. Netanyahu, and he's not ending up in any prison.
No,
that is a very theoretical.
Not alone. Do you know what I mean? Not alone. And unless you want to take all of them, man, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Come on, like this is the same man who the UN was saying let's invest. Not the UN, but the UN is saying like there might be a case of genocide. But didn't he do a presentation to the UN in America? I didn't understand this whole UN thing. That's why I was like, oh, the UN too. You lot actually useless. Apart from the fact that you're not really doubling down, it felt like so this man was allowed to come to the UN, have a picture of where he plans to expand, but then online you're telling us, oh, kids in Gaza have the most amputees per square mile, whatever in the world. Like it's just like, come on. So yeah, I think there's more violations of international law in 2025. I think the Middle East is going to be going through it. I think I don't want it to, but I think even now, what's happening in Syria is a big concern. I mean, the Syrian people has already suffered so much under their regime, but now with like all the stuff that's happening in Gaza, neighboring countries, and Lebanon, and there's a lot more abilities to like manipulate and exploit and have proxy wars there as well. And confuse. I think about the things about the Middle East, and I don't know if this is the right word to use, Middle East. I'm not sure if that's a good term, but the ability to destabilize and to confuse the narrative. I think it's a narrative that's a lot harder to understand because obviously the conditions of oppression have created rebels or opposition fighters or resistance fighters that in one context seem like freedom fighters, right? In another context, to other people can seem like terrorists. So it's such a hard conversation to have sometimes, especially online. So I think that's going to destabilize a lot. I think Ukraine's going to have to accept whatever the US is willing to give it. The US don't give a damn about Ukraine, and Ukraine knows this. Yeah. So I think Zelensky needs to stop his like begging tour. Yeah, that he comes around every time asking for weapons in his bulletproof vest while he's in a war. I don't know any someone who's in a war who can walk around, you know what I mean, and get in man of the year and all that kind of stuff. But you know, times is shameless. So I think one we should do next year, Africa, the African continent now.
We should, do a proper.
That is going to be it, because from Macron and doing pidgin English as he's in Tinubu to Nigeria as a state, ultimately a failed state, on many metrics, to Mali, to the Francophone countries cutting off their ties with France, to maybe more amicable relationships with Russia or the Wagner Group, to obviously the genocides, to famine, to Angola. I don't know what's happening in Angola now, but there's some meetings with Angola and the US president. There's the pipeline that they're building, there's all these other things. There's so much stuff is happening. And I just feel like, I think next year, Middle East, Africa, crazy. The Caribbean with climate change. I don't even know, man. It's just, we've set the stage just for, it could go anyway.
It could. But if you're positive, Malcolm X's 100th birthday is next year. So
amazing.
That's something.
As long as, when is his files coming out?
They're right, Malcolm was clean. I mean, that's what he did. FBI did nothing on Malcolm. So.
Oh really? Oh, we thank God for Malcolm, man. We thank God. I mean, his one was public. He went to prison. He wrote his book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
On that day, innit? But yeah, so okay, good. So we still got Malcolm X. So wait till 2027 for MLK, and we'll do that. But yeah, That's it. That's it, really, isn't it? There's nothing else. Is there any I would say any good news? I don't know if there's any is there any like World Games, Olympics or something? I don't know. Is there anything happening like that?
I don't think so. I don't think next year.
Oh, nothing to bring the British people together. Nothing like war and football. But
Yeah, war and football.
yeah.
All racism as well.
All racism, yeah. So we just need one or two players to like miss one of their penalties or something. And then
yeah, exactly. That would bring some unity.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, man.
I know New Year always brings new stuff. We'll see. There'll be more Make It Plain next year anyway. There you go. That'll be
and hopefully a live event or something.
Yes, we should definitely do a live show.
Yes,
definitely. That'll be good.
Definitely
live show, more stuff. And yeah, Africa. We did deep dive Africa. We should do proper live.
I think we should.
Because that is the future. That Africa is the future. It is the future.
Yeah.
On this
we could do one.
Not the one.
We could even do one in January, looking at what happened, like where we're starting from. So it's like right now, what is taking place, and then it can just be like I don't know, something that we do all year, that we just have a segment where it's like, let's build upon that. Because I do think next year all eyes on Africa for real.
Yeah, that is a good idea. That's a good idea. Perfect. Look at that. We got a New Year's resolution.
Yes. Yes. All eyes on Africa, and hopefully, well, we'll see. If Diddy can say Happy New Year next year, then it's not a good year.
Diddy's not going to be here next year.
Well, we hope he just gets the punishment he deserves.
But yeah, we'll see. Well, have a good Christmas. We celebrate Christmas. New Year.
We need to celebrate everything we can.
Celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa.
Listen,
everything.
Eid is tomorrow, Midaya. What else is there, bro? The light. I don't know what everyone does. The light festival of light. I'm there. I just need anything, everything, man. Anything. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much. See you, and have a happy Christmas, happy New Year to everyone listening as well.
Yes, to all the listeners. Enjoy however you enjoy. Light your Kwanzaa candles.
Yeah.